Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if anybody has witnessed that there is a documentary that is coming to HBO, What to Know About Leaving Neverland, the controversial Michael Jackson documentary. Okay, so this man is cold in his grave, and they are still not done with him yet. White media is not done with destroying Michael Jackson, even in his death. Okay. So I witnessed this as well. And I said to myself, before I begin this article, there were famous childhood actors that worked with Michael Jackson. And I have not yet seen any one of them come forward stating that he has sexually abused them. Now, I'm not saying that that couldn't happen, but I have not seen it or heard of it yet. Being it so, if you want to include the white you know, community. Macaulay Culkin, well known famous childhood actor of Home Alone, hung out, went to the house, was multiple times seen with Michael Jackson in his earlier days when he was still living. And not once had I heard Macaulay Culkin come forward and say that he was sexually abused by Michael Jackson. Now, I don't know if somebody's gonna come up with some drama after, to try to find something. But I feel as though I will say this: Michael had a rough childhood. A lot of that came out about how his father was a tyrant and he was really pretty much living his dreams through the kids. He wanted them to be superstars and he worked hard with them. They had to pretty much give up their childhood lives for success. And some of that worked, but a lot of it was harsh, and there was a lot of harsh reality and a lot of regrets behind all of that. It's from what some of the stories that came out from some of the family members. So, this article, let's get into this. I was looking at this, and I know I said, well, they're not done with Michael Jackson yet. The documentary. Okay, so Michael Jackson's estate condemned an upcoming documentary, Leaving Neverland, about alleged child sexual abuse by the late singer. And this is out of Reuters. This is by a Bethany Butler. Okay, this is very recent, as of today. So, a documentary set to air on HBO this spring explores allegations by two men who say that Michael Jackson sexually abused them as boys. So, in a strongly worded statement, the late singer estate has rebutted the film's claims, calling the documentary tabloid character assassination. So, Leaving Neverland drew strong reactions after premiering on Friday at the Sundance Film Festival. Okay, so you had some people who were very upset, and some people, because the story is kind of dragged on for so long and it's old, some people didn't have anything to say, because we've heard this over and over again. So it goes on to say that Wade Robson and James Safechuck, the men accusing Jackson of sexual abuse, receiving a standing ovation at the Park City, Utah screening. And you notice it's at the Utah screening. Okay, so according to the Hollywood Reporter, the film also attracted a small group of protesters as well. I don't know if you all seen that in the news, where a group of protesters held signs reading, "Seek truth and innocent," outside the theater. So the 4-hour film, directed by Dan Reed, details claims from Robson, a choreographer who says that Jackson began abusing him when he was only about 7 years old, and Safechuck, a former child actor, who says that Jackson began molesting him when he was just 10 years old. So here are the guys pictured here. Wade Robson, he's left. Director Dan Reed, and then James Safechuck of the film Leaving Neverland during the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah. Okay. So both men allege years of sexual abuse. Years now. Not just a one time or a two-time thing. Years. Which they say took place at the singer's famed Neverland Ranch. They also say they faced pressure from Jackson to keep the abuse a secret. Multiple outlets report that the Sundance screening featured healthcare professionals on hand to help audience members that were affected by the film. Graphic descriptions. Reporters who attended the screening shared some of the documentary's specific allegations on Twitter as well. This is a Patrick Ryan on Twitter. At Patrick Ryan writes, among the many disturbing revelations of hashtag Leaving Neverland, MJ, which is referred to as abbreviate, Michael Jackson gave one of his young male victims jewelry in exchange for sexual acts, and even staged a mock wedding complete with vows and diamond rings. Hashtag Sundance 2019. Okay? So people are taking this rather serious. And there's also some confusion with all of this. So, in its statement following the Sundance premiere, Jackson's estate said the film takes uncorroborated allegations that supposedly happened 20 years ago and threats them as fact and treats them as fact. So, these claims were the basis of a lawsuit filed by the two admitted liars who were ultimately dismissed by a judge. So the statement continued, okay? So the two accusers testified under oath that these events never had occurred. So they have provided no independent evidence and absolutely no proof in the support of their accusations, which means that the entire film hinges solely on the word of the two perjurers. Now, these are the two, let me read this again. These claims were the basis of lawsuits that were filed by these two admitted liars, which were ultimately dismissed by a judge. The statement continued. The two accusers testified under oath that these events never occurred. They have provided no independent evidence and absolutely no proof in support of their accusations, which means the entire film hinges solely on the word of the two perjurers. As noted by the Daily Beast, Robson, 36 years old, alleged that Jackson had sexually abused him over a 7-year period in the lawsuit filed May 2013, nearly 4 years after the singer's 2009 death. Okay, so the Australian native who appeared in several of Jackson's music videos as a child had been a key defense witness in the singer's 2005 criminal trial, where Robson testified under oath that the singer had never molested him. Jackson was later acquitted on all of the charges, which included 4 counts of child molestation. Robson's 2013 lawsuit was thrown out of court 2 years later by a judge who said Robson waited way too long to make his legal claim. So Safechuck, who is now 40, came forward in 2014 with a similar legal claim that was also dismissed out of court. So as the Los Angeles Times notes, documents filed in Safechuck's case acknowledge that he too had denied the singer's abuse, that abused him. And so that, in other words, he had came forward also, Safechuck, and said that it never happened. So in a witness statement he gave, this was in 1993 when Jackson was first accused of the child's sexual abuse. So Jackson's family released a separate statement Monday morning calling the documentary public lynching. Let me read that again. Jackson's family released a separate statement Monday morning calling this film documentary a public lynching. The creators of the film were not interested in the truth, the statement said. They never interviewed a single solitary soul who knew Michael except the two perjurers and their families. That is not journalism, and it's not fair, yet the media are perpetrating these stories, are perpetuating the stories. So the family statement echoes comments made by the singer's nephew, Taj Jackson, who tweeted Saturday that the film was a 4-hour one sided hit job. This is all about money and a desperate need to be relevant again, he wrote. So Reed, the film director, addressed Jackson's family's comments in a statement on Monday. Anyone who sees the film will know it is solely about hearing the stories of two specific individuals and their families in their words, their own words, and that is a focus we are very proud of, he said. Get it? They're very proud of this film. We feel no need to include the opinions of people with no direct knowledge of what happened to those two individuals. Following the Sundance screening, Safechuck and Robson said in an audience question and answer after the film that they were never offered compensation for participating in that film. We are just trying to tell the story, to shed light or shine light on it, Safechuck said, as quoted by Vanity Fair. HBO has not released an air date for Leaving Neverland, but it previously said the documentary will air in two parts this spring. The film will also air on Britain's Channel 4. So this post was already updated. So this is Bathony Butler. Bathony Butler writes about television and pop culture for the Washington Post, and she joined the Washington Post in 2010 as a member of a social media team. So I want to know what your conscious, deep thought questions and answers to those questions, if you will, would be on a circumstance like this. Do you feel that this was what they say a public lynching, okay, of Michael Jackson, even though this man is dead, cold in his grave? He was tormented most of his life by these allegations. Most of his life, his adult career. He even left the US for a while to escape all of the drama behind all of this and the allegations. Now, we're not saying that Michael Jackson here didn't have his own issues in his childhood life. He had some traumatic experiences that we were hearing involving his father and the pressure of having to be a superstar and the work he had to put into it through his childhood and not having the normal childhood and just being the normal kid while growing up, but having all the pressure of having to, perform and travel and go through his experiences. And he's coming from a time where a lot of these movements, you didn't hear a lot of this, but some of it was going on. I'm sure there was still some ear-bending movements that went on involving civil rights. We were at probably the, some of that era was still sort of prevalent in his days, his younger days. When he was involved in the Jackson Five. There's also some real controversial moments that have happened throughout Michael Jackson's career, where he participated in the movements and he donated money. He also was involved in being close relations with a child who was stricken with the HIV that later became AIDS. If you remember, now I'm jogging some memories here. There was a kid by the name of Ryan White who also was around Michael Jackson during those times. There was Macaulay Culkin. There was also Alfonso, who played on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There were also childhood actors that, there was one kid who he was very short, and I'm forgetting his name, but there had been several famous, well-known, notable childhood individuals that had close relation with Michael Jackson, and we had not heard any one of them do what these two men have done, even though it was proven in court that there were no evidence and their claims were thrown out of court. They even admitted that they lied. What do you think about this? This just is another story that continues to drag on. This man is not only has been tormented through his lifetime when he's been around physically in the physical form living, but even after death, he is now being tormented by the same two agitators promoting this lie that he sexually abused them. And it was proven in court that it wasn't true. What do you think about this? It just never ends. So anyway, I'm going to play this video. This is probably talking about their version of this documentary that's supposedly going to come out in the spring, if it hasn't already surfaced. But I'm going to play it. It's probably accompanied with a commercial.
An outrageous and pathetic attempt to cash in on Michael Jackson's fame. That's what Jackson's estate called an upcoming documentary about alleged child sexual abuse by the singer. Jackson, who died in 2009, was acquitted at a 2005 criminal trial in California on charges of molesting a 13-year-old boy at his Neverland ranch. But a new documentary titled Leaving Neverland will be screened at the Sundance Independent Film Festival later this month. The filmmakers say it features interviews with two men, now in their 30s, who say they were befriended and sexually abused by the singer when they were young boys. Quote, "This so-called documentary is just another rehash of dated and discredited allegations," Jackson's estate said in a statement. Quote, "This is yet another lurid production in an outrageous and pathetic attempt to exploit and cash in on Michael Jackson." It will also air on HBO and Britain's Channel 4 television network this spring, festival organizers and HBO said.
So I'm going to let this go. And I just want to know, what do you think about all of this development? What do you think about these men pretty much trying to destroy Michael Jackson in death? This really is sad, because when you see things like this, it makes you realize what times we're living in here. That we have people that, despite using the justice system and you think that you're getting justice, that's not enough for some of these people. They look at it as this. Here he's a black man, he's very popular, and he has real strong influence in society, and he's successful, and he has lots of money. And you have these two people, and who knows or whatever else over all these years that claim this abuse, and they come out and then they admit that they lied, they throw it out of court and they try to go at it again, and now this. What do you think of all of this? Is this a public lynching of yet another black male who happened to be in a situation where he's vulnerable because he has success, fame, fortune, money, and he has a lot of influence in the world and in American culture and the music world, that this is just another attempt at taking whatever scraps and bit of money that these two people could come up with this allegation and drag it all over again, even in this man's death. What do you think about this? I think it's sad. I really do. But anyway, with this being said, I'm going to let this video go. Thoughts, feedback, comment, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for listening.